Welcome to the next instalment of Flipping English, which is going to focus on essay writing. And we're going to be doing it over 5 different lessons online. Now, in Australia, kids begin writing essays generally in high school, so through their teenage years, and very commonly, it's their least favourite form of assessment. And it shouldn't be, because essentially all an essay is an argument. And I'm yet to meet a teenager who isn't good at arguing. So look, the things that they struggle with are just getting started or knowing how to structure it properly, structure that argument, and they're the things that we're going to be looking to explicitly teach over the 5 lessons that we're going to be doing online. But the first thing that I want my students to do, and look, if you're not a student and you want to do it, feel very free, but my students need to do it to prepare for their lesson tomorrow, is I want you to write down 3 things that you know about essay writing. And specifically, imagining that you're teaching someone to be a good essay writer. So 3 things that's going to help them, 3 tips that's going to help them become an even better essay writer. And I want you to write that in the comment section below. Right, ready? And we'll pause the video and... Okay, great. Well, we're out of pause. You've written down your 3 things that you already know about essays. Fantastic. What we're going to focus on for this first lesson is going to be essay planning. So this is one of the hardest parts generally with the essays, just getting started, looking at that blank page or blank computer screen, and just getting going, getting that impetus to get up and go with the essay. So we're going to be breaking it down into a few different skills that are going to help you to do that. Firstly, we're going to be teaching you to really look at the question, and teachers will be telling you that for years and years and years. Then we'll be teaching you to deconstruct the question. We'll go into some brainstorming. We're going to look at you creating questions that you'd like your essay to kind of answer, and then look very briefly answering them. We'll be reviewing the question again, and look again, this will be kind of a constant theme of just continually going back and reviewing the question, and then working out a kind of 6-paragraph plan for your essay. And that's it. That's easy. Well, let's get started. The first thing all teachers will tell you when it comes to writing essays is read the question. And look, that's what I'm doing now, and I'm just going through and I'm highlighting. You can highlight or you can underline the keywords in the essay question. This is for the Hunger Games, the novel The Hunger Games. It's for a Year 8 class, which is ages 13 to 14. Now, once you've underlined or highlighted the keywords, we then go and deconstruct them. And deconstructing is very simple. It's just going to the dictionary and looking up those different keywords just to make sure that you've got a very clear understanding of what each word actually means. So you know what the question is actually asking, so that you can be on point when you're actually answering the essay question. Now look, I'll go through and I'll write them all out, but when it comes to language techniques, I'm not actually sure. That the dictionary hasn't told me what language techniques actually are. So I'll simply type into Google, what are language techniques? And I'll find this site that has them. And I'll go, oh, terrific. In there's symbolism, that's definitely in the Hunger Games, and there's illusion, definitely in the Hunger Games, great. I'll make sure that I'm talking about them in the essay that I'm going to write. So then I go into brainstorming. Remember, there's lots of different ways that you can do this. These are things that I like to do when it comes to writing essay, and I think brainstorming really gets the brain juices kind of flowing, and the idea is just to write continuously. Generally single words, and literally I was just going through, write themes, write, setting, write, characters, write, language techniques, write, just pump it out, don't stop. The thing I like to do next is then ask questions. So through brainstorming, I've really started to think about the text in relation to the essay question, and this is the stage where you're starting to think, okay, well, what would I like to talk about in my essay, what interests me, and what questions would I like to explore and then answer in my essay. And the next stage is to look at those questions and very briefly, 1 or 2 sentences, just to answer them. These activities they're all pretty quick. They're all 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You don't want to be spending too much time. All these activities are just to help you to get started with your essay. Because often one of the hardest things is just staring at that blank page or that blank computer screen. So this is getting you started, and this activity in particular is pretty good for developing a thesis statement, which is something that we're going to look at shortly. Or potentially you go back and you kind of review, and you can maybe use this as topic sentences. So once I've answered those questions, I go into free writing. And look, free writing is very similar to brainstorming, but whereas brainstorming is generally single words, free writing is starting to write sentences. So your ideas about your essay are really starting to form at this stage. And again, give yourself a time limit for the free writing, 5 or 10 minutes, and then just write as much as you can, as fast as you can. Don't stop and think, just keep writing, whatever pops into your head. And hopefully it will actually be about the text, and it will be like looking at how to answer the question, because obviously all those activities that you've done to precede the free writing have been getting you to think about the essay question. They've been getting you to think about the text. So free writing, you are now articulating in sentences those ideas that you've been thinking about. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to revisit the question. And look, this should be something that you do throughout the essay writing process, just continuously going back and looking at the question again, and just making sure that you're on track. So I very simply just cut and paste where I'd highlighted the key words and also deconstructed. And I went, well, survival. That's something that's really interested me throughout this planning process so far. What are the different types of survival that I could look at in an essay about the Hunger Games? Well, obviously there's physical survival. And then there's also survival of identity. And that's something that really interested me. As soon as I started writing that down, I thought, oh, that could be something that I'd develop maybe into a thesis statement. Because I thought that's something that has a bit of meat to it. And this leads us to the thesis statement. So for that, I just went back and I read over what I've written so far, and again, looking for something that grabbed me, something that interests me. In particular, obviously, with that idea of survival of identity. And I think I wrote a question, how does Katniss change during the novel? And what I wrote down was that she doesn't change, which is very unusual for a protagonist. Normally, a protagonist changes from the start of the novel in a narrative through to the end. So that's going to be my thesis statement, that Katniss does not change in the novel The Hunger Games. Now, the key thing to know about a thesis statement is that it is arguable. I could not write a thesis if I wrote Katniss survives the Hunger Games. Well, that's not a thesis statement, that's a fact. You need to be able to argue a thesis statement. So when I'm saying that Katniss does not change throughout the novel, you could very easily argue that she does change, and that her character develops and transforms. But I'm choosing to argue, obviously, that no, she doesn't. And I think there's some good evidence, and I'll provide a compelling argument through my body paragraphs and give the reasons why, through different stages of the novel, her sense of identity is remaining exactly the same. There's no change there. So once I've created this thesis statement, I'm then going to plan my essay. And I've gone for a 6-paragraph essay plan. And the reason I'm suggesting 6-paragraph plan So I think it's an achievable thing to aim for in an exam. So you've got 40 minutes to write an essay. I think you can punch out 6 paragraphs. And the basic structure of that is the first paragraph is your introduction. Paragraphs 2, 3, 4, and 5 are your body paragraphs, and you're going to be using teal or peel to do that. And look, again, we'll cover that when we do our lesson on body paragraphs. And then finally, paragraph number 6 is going to be your conclusion. Well, look, hopefully you've got something out of all those different strategies for helping you to plan your essay. Now, they're not the only ones. There's lots more out there. And there are a few that I feel work well. However, you might have your own ones. If you do, please share it below in the comments. Different suggestions for different people. Create that community of learners where people can be learning not only from me, but also from the people who are watching the videos who may have something really valuable to offer. And look, with that in mind, what I'd again like my students to do now is write down 3 things. So revisiting that first thing that they did, again, you're going to be teaching someone how to plan an essay. And what I want you to do is write down 3 strategies. So these could be strategies that we just talked about, that I've just talked about then in the video, or strategies that they've used in the past, or maybe even they've made up. They think, oh, this would work well. So 3 strategies, and I want you to write it in the comments section below so that I can check up on you. Look, thanks for watching Flipping English. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you at the next lesson, which will be on writing an introduction for an essay. Okay, thanks for watching.